triple warehouses, or if you control the warehouses on the outer vicinity of Georgia Pool containers, that's the best. Because the containers at this point are just going to be a labyrinth with not just one but multiple Minotaurs running through it. With not just one but multiple Minotaurs running through it.
Revenant Egg Spark.
Oh no,
this is going to be an interesting fight. Victor Sumas versus Revenant Egg Spark. Man advantage still in the hands of Victor Sumas. So there's a chance that VS can actually steal it away at the nade. He was so close. Just barely an inch away. Another nade tossed out. Trace gets chipped down even lower. Mafia knows there is someone on the ridge, and he's not going to be backing away anytime soon. He's going to keep on applying that pressure with the utilities. This nade, it's going to find the knock he was searching for. Trace gets knocked out. That's the opener. Victor Sumas, now they can press upon the matters even more if they want. Another nade tossed out. It's not going to be on a good spot.
But I think eventually they are going to catch the players of Revenant Egg Spark off guard. Or maybe they're just out of utils now. No nades available. The last Molotov tossed out. Trace has been brought back by the players of Revenant Egg Spark. But Victor Sumas, this chase took away time from them. And they don't have a lot remaining. They are inside of this play zone. But what has me concerned is the climb up the hill. If you're making this much commotion while you're below the ridge, once you peek out, there will be multiple crosshairs pinned on your faces. Now you look at how many angles they're exposed from. The players of Vanguard will have a line of fire. Myth Official, who control the hill on Georgia Pool, also will have a line of fire for this position. So Victor Sumas, they need to be cautious.
Yeah, but I still believe that VS's position, it's not too bad. They can definitely wiggle their way around.
I give them 5 minutes.
Let's see. Tri-Timlin Esports. The fact that they've got all the 4 players standing, but with no elimination points secured, it makes me concerned. All it takes is one flip of that switch, and you can be instantly wiped out from the game. That's why you should be prioritizing those fights. Maybe Tri-Timlin Esports should have peeked out, went for those individual blows here and there. Things could have been a lot better, but the circle just popping right on top of Tri-Timlin Esports. It feels like the hand of God is with them this time.
Pretty much, man, and Tri-Timlin Esports, they need to make this count. Yesterday was not the best performance from them, just 5 points in 3 matches, and today they need to bring in those finish points to make the climb on the overall leaderboard. But again, even difficult to move out from this cliff.
Yeah. Myth Official. Oh my God, it's so funny. Myth knows there is someone in the water lines. Daddy's just waiting for that one little glimmer. At the moment that happens, he's probably going to execute that player. Nebula, once again, just keeping themselves put in that same spot. Nebula hasn't even moved a single muscle since the last 2 stages. Kind of funny. While Wildfangs, they're just constantly duking it out, taking those fights on the left and the right side. And as of now, taking this little bit of a challenge against Vanguard. It might just be a massive pill to swallow. But Vanguard's still trying to be as cautious as they can, moving through the containers. They still think that there's a chance that there might just be foe lying around.
Yeah, but Vanguard are letting go of their position, maybe just letting go of control that could have kept both Nebula and Wildfangs at bay. But as we were talking about Nebula, I think Wildfangs is just about to learn what went down with K9 Esports during the showdown. Nebula, they were waiting in an exchange, but this time it's going to be Goten finding the opener. His IGL is there for support, and now Sensei has to be the saving grace as Goten falls, and Sensei finally makes contact. 3 eliminations on Sensei. Wildfangs are down to their last man. And Vanguard finally all flushed out from the warehouses. They lose a man. Insidious is out of the way. Vanguard is left with 2, but Wildfangs are still fighting for their lives.
Indeed. And the way Wildfangs is also positioned, man. The fact that they've also lost out on one of the players that they had alive, now it just gets things even tougher for Sensei to convert. And Vanguard is searching for that one last loose straggler of Wildfangs. Sensei, he just wants to keep his position anonymous, but he already knows his cover's blown. He needs to move out, hand out a few more death blows to be on the safer side of the spectrum, but is that even going to be possible? Victor Sumas also getting pressured by Triton Esports. Vanguard just constantly applying that pressure on that one man of Wildfangs. Things are just so back and forth. Getting his hands on a fresh weapon as well. Myth official from the sidelines constantly duking it out, taking those chip damage. Myth is actually keeping a lot of these teams on bay, keeping them in check, constantly dealing that damage from the sidelines. And Myth is now starting to be a real pain.
For sure, but is there anyone out there that will provide some sort of relief to Victoria Sumas to Troy Tamilian from the players of Myth? Thought it could be the players of Revenant X-Park, but no. Eventually bleeding out to the blue. Revenant X-Park bow down on the 7th, and Sensei gets shut down by Dionysus from Vanguard. Although it's not going to change a lot, Vanguard are still going to be flushed out. The blue zone is closing in, and they are still stuck on the containers. Look at Oasis on the flank. He's waiting for them to step out. He has them in their crosshairs. And Vanguard do manage to stay alive for the next few seconds, but I think it's just the clock, and it is going to count down eventually.
They've got no other option than to just straight up send it. And Victor Sumas, they've got the line of fire. And just like that, within the matter of seconds, VS, they eliminate the entirety of Vanguard. One of the elimination points stolen away by Nonix as well. So that's a great thing. Everyone's happy. Victor Sumas is always in Venom. The final 2, Glimmer of Hope standing. VS now with a lot of pressure on top of them. Triton Esports, they have been extremely lucky with the circles. And they probably do want to capitalize onto it and take this chicken dinner home. But a team like Nonix is automatically going to be there, constantly creating those problems. Triton Esports, they also need to be careful of Nonix's presence, and there's a chance that Nonix might just move around those containers the moment the circle keeps on shrinking even lower.
Let's see, opportunity is there for Nonix to make a big play as well, but they also know that Troy Tamilian has been waiting alongside with them. And Myth could be one of those names that can also cause trouble that they haven't accounted for. But Arthur on the move, and he's taken a nice little off angle to work with, even finds an opener as Harshal from the side of Myth is going to hit the floor. And now Myth are going to be left in a very precarious position. Daddy's position compromised. The spray from Venom makes contact, and it is going to be a complete spray down and elimination from Myth Esports. We're down to the top 3. And Nonix, what is this? Oxen, you cheeky man, lies in wait out into the open. FPP switch as well, and Nonix have no answer for that.
Oh my god, but look at Aiden. Oh, he's only got that drop as a cover. Nonix, the blue, it's on the move. Nonix also needs to be on the move. Backs against the wall, they need to be a little bit quick on the feet. And the first man falls down, Arthur hits the deck. Anonymous, the only person left alive in the back lines, and Let's, oh no, he switches that weapon, but it's fine. His teammates got his back. Now Victor Sumas is going to be the only team, the only thorn in the way for Troy Tamilian's chicken dinner. This is the comeback Troy Tamilian has been searching for, and this might just be claimed by them. Venom is already taking too much damage. He does not even have enough HP to sustain more damage, and Troy Tamilian Esports, they press on the matters, and they will seal the deal with a chicken dinner.
What a game, what a match coming in from Troy Tamilian Esports. Did not have that run of form, had a really bad start in semi-finals day number 1, but come day number 2, day of comebacks brings us results, and Troy Tamilian Esports making a big jump.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, there were a lot of finishes out there. It was not really a high-fragging game, Johnny, but still, I feel like Troy Tamilian Esports did very well for them.
I think where they were on the leaderboard desperately required them to do something.
Yeah,
and 16 points is actually a very good outing on an angle. It's a decent match. So this could be the start of something big from the side of Troy Tamilian. But I think bigger performances, Victor Sumas. My goodness, what a match. because he felt Victorious Summers was going to be done for when they charged the players of Reckoning Esports. I felt they were going to be done for when they charged for the players of Revenant X Park and Myth. Pushing that ridge once they were in the river was supposed to be impossible. They got to write thank you notes to Non-X, to Myth, to Vanguard as well, Nebula, anyone who was playing the containers for being such a big distraction to each other that Vanguard made it to the high grounds.
Yeah, I mean, at a point, we also did think that Wildfangs is also going to be done for way before.
Yes.
But even Wildfangs was able to survive for such a long time. Well, just keep Wildfangs aside. Look at Nebula Esports. They took heavy beating upon themselves right off the bat, but still those two players were surviving in the final few.
Although I feel bad for someone, I feel bad for an entire squad, and the name of that team is Non-X. Because Oxen,
Yeah, what was this? I don't even understand how Oxen was able to pull off such a cheeky play. You know, that move requires a lot of guts.
He was right there. In FPP as well, he was just lying out into the open.
Yeah, he had that smoke covering his back a little bit, but still the fact that the man was not able to spot him is just unacceptable. And that's what I'm saying, right? That move requires a lot of guts to pull off, and he still took the odds.
But there we go. We saw the celebration on the lads of Troy the Million Esports. They're finally feeling themselves. They're finally feeling like, you know what? We can be a competition to the rest of the lobby. Look at the stats though. 6 eliminations, not really a lot of points. 16 points from this particular match. But like we said, it changes the momentum. It changes the future for Troy the Million Esports. Johnny, I remember during the cast as well, you said Victorious Summers have 5 minutes at max inside of the 5th stage itself.
I told
From
you.
there on, I think 11 to 12 eliminations, I think it's a great performance,
It
a
is
great
a great
turnaround. Even
Yeah.
for Wildfang, somebody who was kind of reeling on the bottom of the leaderboard, we saw Sensei step up big time, and I think that is a great sense of good news for them.
I also feel like that Myth just lost control way too early. That should not have been the case. Since Myth had the high ground to play with, they could have done a lot better from that position, but they just messed up.
So the circle moved away to containers, and after that, exiting that hill of Georgia Pool becomes very tricky, especially in a competitive game when you had Non-X on the isolated warehouse, you had Troy the Million Esports in the containers cluster, and of course, after the fact that Victorious Somos also made it to the container cluster, Myth was in no way able to survive after that. But as we were talking about Victorious Somos, they had 9 eliminations when they were in the river. After that, they got like, I think, 3 more. So, yeah, they were able to survive. They got those placement points, which is good, compensates for the lack of finishes that they weren't able to convert once they made it to the high ground. But overall, Victorious Somos was doing well. I think this just pushes them in the top 4.
Absolutely. Victorious Summers, they were pretty good on the overall standings even before this. So now they just make their position even better. But one team I really want to talk about, and they were struggling on the leaderboard, they were on the last page, was Reckoning Esports.
You
And
stole my words.
Exactly, right? I mean, they had 7 to 8 finishes while
7.
they were in the mid-game phase. Of course, they did get taken out. The circle was a little tricky for them, but I feel like this gives them a much-needed motivation to actually push forward, isn't it, Necro?
Definitely it's going to be booster, right, when it comes to the confidence